Yes,
All right.
we did
We're
it.
back.
We are back, and it always feels good to be back with you, man. Happy Friday, Brian. Proper Friday, Art First Show. Welcome, everybody.
Happy Friday. I got to see you last Friday at, or was it Thursday, at the Time to Be Happy Gallery. You got to show an awesome physical piece. I got to curate a bunch of stuff, and that was a party.
Dude, it was way more than a party than I thought it was going to be. It was great at Benzie's Time to Be Happy Gallery up in Soho. Thank you for curating the show. Thank you to Benzie for putting it on, inviting me to be a part of the residency. Super awesome show. A lot of great artists. And yeah, like you said, everybody, like so many people came out to that thing, and it was just like, it was a blast. We need more of that. Like I miss
Definitely.
doing gallery shows and going to gallery shows. So,
cheers. I went last night to a dinner curated by Shrimpo, and
I missed it.
This guy named Jerry, who is a pioneer of stereoscopic camera and glasses.
Whoa.
He created these like Rolling Stone videos in the 80s that were 3D, and I say this because stereoscopic is the name of the game for our guest today.
That was a really good. That was a really good segue. Look at that. You stayed up all night on that one.
Yeah, I look tired.
No. But you have a new kid, so you're always tired. Stereoscopic. Speaking of that, not just stereoscopic, but collage artist, digital collage, real life collage, crypto art OG in the truest sense of the word, making art since 2018 on the blockchain, and just innovating. Super happy today to welcome our guest, the one, the only, Coldie. Welcome, Coldie.
Woo! What's up? Dude, as soon as I heard stereoscopic, I just like started pounding on there. I'm like, let me in. I need to fucking start.
Let's go, man. Dude. How's it going?
Brian knows how to trigger me. Brian knows how to trigger me.
Oh, yeah. Shrimpo, have you met Shrimpo in real life?
I just met him.
He's got that camera.
Dude, we both have the exact same camera. You saw it. I'm like,
yeah.
You have a W3? He's like, you know what this is? I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, oh, he's great.
No, it was fun. Like, yeah, like that guy Jerry, he's a real character, but he invented some sort of glasses where one lens made your eyes perceive things like a half a second later, and by doing that, he was able to create the 3D illusion. You could watch like 3D movies on TV.
Yeah, it's like a shutter lag. It's yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, Coldie's obviously no stranger to all of that, but like you've been doing stereoscopic stuff, red, blue, but then also you recently, recently is a relative term in our space, but like you did a project with like your own Viewmasters. If anybody of a certain age remembers the awesome.
Yeah. Hold on.
Click. Like, that's all right. We'll just look at your baby maker ringer in the background.
The baby maker for everyone.
Love to see it. But yeah, you've been doing,
but also lenticulars.
Oh yeah, look at that. That is so dope, man.
So how'd you get the cards printed for that?
Yeah.
So this is
wow.
This is a forthcoming drop.
That's like a straight up photo.
Like who does it? Like that's a special company, or there's like one company in the world that does these things.
That's awesome.
I can't imagine they're that busy.
Yeah. They're like, Coldie, come back, please.
It's funny. So super quick on that one. It was it's a project called Trippers, and I wrote a book about the gold rush like 15 years ago, like pre-crypto. It just started coming in my head. So I started typing this shit out, and it became this fucking lovely tale. And it's just been sitting there forever and ever and ever. And finally I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I need to get the ball rolling because I'm 40 plus years old. Shit needs to get moving now. So I was like, you know what? I can leverage technology to do this, right? I can create a scene with AI. I can cut it out in 3D. I can layer it the way I love to layer things with 3D. And like for this example, it's like, fuck it, I'll make a Viewmaster, right? So Oh God, that's a whole different rabbit hole. But,
So
yeah.
here's a quick question. All right, so layering, right? Like that's like a huge thing in your world. I've always been curious when you're doing the digital pieces that you do, where it's sort of like moving through virtual space, and it's kind of like get that parallax effect where one object goes a little in front of the other object. What are you using? Is that like cut? Like, are you? How do you do it? Right? Are you cutting things out and then? Is it like an After Effects 2.5D kind of thing or a 3D program? Like, walk us through like that.
Yeah, so I would say it's funny. The evolution of that is worth telling. So the whole reason I started doing 3D animation was because I was doing anaglyph 3D prints, which is like the red and blue offset for a picture. And I was doing that jam. It's all over my studio. Like this UFO piece back here is like old.
Nice
anaglyph, right? And I started like showing those around all over the place, and nobody had glasses. So everyone's like, "Oh, that's a really cool piece of art." I was like, "Well, do you have 3D glasses?" They're like, "No." I was like, "Well, that's like the whole point. Like, thank you for appreciating the art, but when you put the glasses on, it fucking pops out of you." Yeah, boom, thank you. Yeah. So this actually, I made this in 2017. This was pre NFTs. And this is a wonderful example because I minted this on Rare Art Labs in 2018. And, you know, I would get compliments and people were like, "Well, that's fucking crazy." And I was like, "Well, put the glasses on." And they're like, "Holy fuck." And that became a problem because nobody had the glasses to see the depth. So I started problem solving. I'm like, how can I simulate the illusion, right, for more people to see what I'm doing with the parallax? And that got me into 2-frame animated GIFs in Photoshop, right? You could take the left and right and they'll wiggle back and forth. Cool, right? So I started doing some portraits like that, and people were like, "Dude, this is sick." And like it hit differently. And I like animated GIF 3D. But then I kept evolving that, right? I was like, well, shit, if I go 2 frames, why not go 10 seconds? You know, why don't we just get some movement with the parallax and try something new? So it kept evolving from Photoshop into After Effects, right? And then you can start using 3D model engines. You know, you could do your Unities or your Blenders and get the depth effects depending on what like kind of subject matter you're using, right? If you're doing what's often called in the stereo world a comic book, you know, the flat frame cuts, like a cell, like the cell layering, like Brian's done cell layering, those physicals, right? And that comic book style, cut them out, PNG that shit. That works fine sometimes, right? But there's also sometimes where you need an actual 3D object so it doesn't like disappear on you. There's a bunch of different reasons to use different softwares. So this one is amazing. This is another story.
Is this live? Are you moving that yourself, Adam?
I don't think I am, but
okay.
But no, I think it's going.
I know.
Going on its own.
I know. Coldie has some GLBs that are movable as well.
Incredible, yeah. So
let me tell a quick story on that one. So that was when I was learning software to get me to the next level of what I was learning. I was part of the journey, and Photoshop has a built-in 3D layering system, which is pretty rudimentary, but it got me going. So this is literally me screen capturing with a mouse and pretty much live performance art.
Wow.
Animation.
This really isn't like an evolution of style and out of necessity, but like that's cool. That's a cool concept, man. You didn't know how to do it, or you saw what it could do, right? I guess is more accurate. And then it didn't make videos, so you just recorded it.
Yeah, I hadn't progressed to learning cameras and After Effects, and you know, like that came shortly after. But at this point, I'm not the type of guy that's gonna sit around and wait to make something. I'm going to make something and then improve on it next time, right? So this was that flux between 2-frame GIF and After Effects. I was like, when you guys know, like when you hit that zone, you're like, I'm feeling the vibes. Like
That's amazing.
I'm making art. Like this was that. I was like, fuck it. I must have recorded my screen 20 times, figuring out how to move the mouse in these certain movements, right?
Right, because you want to show off all the details and show that it has depth, right?
And then trying to line up the GIF, because if your GIF don't loop, oof, right? So I'm trying to get the mouse to a similar area, right? There's all these little weird.
Is each variant a different recording?
Huh?
Was each variant a different recording?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, each one's its own path. Yeah,
that's fun.
Wow.
That's a really interesting way of creating randomization that isn't, like automated generativism.
Is that a word?
Generativism.
Just add more syllables.
Yeah, no,
that's really cool.
That's so cool. So in this instance, you're moving the camera around. When you went into After Effects, are you animating cameras on a track, or are you moving the scene around a camera?
Oh, good question.
I'm more of the move the scene with the camera guy. Like it's almost like I look at it there's two different ways of doing this, right? There is, from a filmmaker standpoint, it's the run and gun guerrilla crew, right? Where we're gonna be part of the scene and get in there and like fucking, if you're feeling it, you zoom way the fuck in, then you come out, right? That's completely different than the Disneyland pre-navigated track, right? Mm-hmm. They each tell a story, but there's a time and a place for each type of story, right? So instinctually, I like to run and gun because it's more easy for me to make call it an avant-garde move, right? Where, all of a sudden we're going to fucking flip 180 and zoom in with the fucking tilt. That's easier to do when you're holding the camera, right? Rather than building the track to do that. So a little bit of both, but a little bit of the Robert Rodriguez Tarantino side of the unexpected part of it is like oftentimes more fun.
You're just, that's where you have opportunities to learn new things, right? That's where you also stumble upon just happy accidents like that you wouldn't otherwise. Like there's something about having a plan but being completely open of veering from it and just going where things take you. And like you said, you're the kind of guy that just gets shit done, right? Like if you want to do something, you're just gonna figure it out and get messy. And then that's how breakthroughs happen in any industry, right? Like by just doing the thing you want to try to do and failing at it until you get to where you want to be.
Yeah. And taking the failure as a win of the process.
Yeah.
Right. Like the amount of failures in my life are blessings and opportunities, right? Talk to any therapist, right? They'll reiterate that. But like I could go through them all in real life and art where it's like, wow, that went horribly wrong, right? But next time you better believe it was at least half as bad.
And filled with like that much more intention, right? Because you've learned something.
Yeah.
I love that. And your work really is similar in concept, but an evolution of style is very clear.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, one piece I'd love to queue up before you scroll past it is that Gandinsky.
I would love to also. So I clicked on, there it is, finally. Okay.
So
it's taking a minute. This is awesome.
This is along that path as well. So this was like my very first series where I was testing two different theses. The first thesis was, how can you use AI and generate new images around a theme, right? And that was me taking Kandinsky artwork, throwing it into Runway, I think it was. Is that our Playform? Is that the same thing? one of those early style.
Runway was definitely early. Yeah.
So I think it was Runway. Threw that shit in there, and then clip it out and throw it into. This was Photoshop again, right? And well, actually, this might have been my very first After Effects piece. I think this is After Effects because you can see it's on a. This is like the Disneyland track, right?
Yeah.
Or Swoopy Swoop. And I was doing that because I was working on testing before I did something like a portrait or something that was more like, like this was like in my little R&D shed, right? And it proved a whole bunch of stuff to me. Like, first of all, it was fun to mess around with AI. I got a wonderful compliment from Robbie Barrett. We were talking and he said how much he enjoyed the Gandinsky series. And I instantly was like, Robbie, thank you for saying that. But like, you got to know that I don't know what I'm doing with AI. Like this, like, thank you for saying that. But I know what I did. It's a first crack at, AI art. So this series is very meaningful. And I only made 3 pieces and, it kind of was what it was, and I would love to visit Gandinsky some more. Actually, I take that back.
I bet you could make some really cool stuff with it now with the tech.
Yeah.
But there's something inherently beautiful about early AI. I was fortunate to be in one of the early versions of Midjourney, thanks to Bryan. But it would make people, it was horrific, but there was beauty in it because it was not perfect. It was sort of like, I don't know what a person is, but I think this is a person. And that that is so lost now. Everything is so perfect and borderline terrifying in terms of how good it is. But I don't know. I like running back prompts and running them through version 1 of AI programs, because there's something really cool about seeing how the tech sees us as a reflection when it doesn't fully understand it. I don't know, and I'm seeing that here, like, what I mean, like in terms of like the resolution, in terms of the colors, in terms of just like the way it looks, has that early AI feel, and I think there's something really cool about that.
Yeah, and part of the journey, as we're talking, I'm remembering the path. After this, I took, again, we're always talking about like learning the software to evolve the idea. And I actually took this into a 1-of-1. I did a couple on Super Rare, where I was making these Gandinsky like landscapes in After Effects. So kind of like me envisioning these in the metaverse, where it's kind of a scene where I was building objects and the camera would kind of do the Robert Rodriguez, like kind of fly through thing. And it was cut and designed while listening to Obscured by Clouds, which is a wonderful early Pink Floyd album. And those things hit so well together at that moment. That's the piece is called Obscured by Clouds. And that to me was like another breakthrough, because I resonate very, very deeply with music. And I feel like in a different life or something else, I was a musician, right? In this life, creativity comes out visually. So, but there's these little like remnants, like whenever I connect art and music, I fucking go to a different level. And that was one of those experiences where I was in it. I'm sure there was some great homegrown organic weed involved. And with that, I created that piece, right? So there's this through line to these series that I just love talking about, because, if I take myself out of the equation, you can see the progression of it and the path. And it's fun to make it and also look back at it and be like, wow, that's where I started and that's where I got. And I'm glad I started, because if I never started that experiment 2 years earlier or wherever, Obscured by Clouds would have never existed. Right. So it's taking that leap into the fire and saying, fuck it. Like, what are we doing? Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is the ethos of making art.
Yeah.
Like if we're not experimenting, if we're not pushing ourselves, if we're not trying to make things, then what are we even doing?
Yeah. So getting into the nitty gritty, I think one thing I like about your GAN work is the texture within it, and I think that's a big part of your art is the texture, whether it's this grit and grunge or halftones or even images that you take. Can you talk a little bit about how you build up your library of textures and apply them?
Yeah, I learned this early on when I was going to art school. One of my professors was always talking about your morgue file, right? And it's always and it was very cryptic. It was, I don't know why she called it your morgue, but that's what it was. And it was the idea of always adding images in your daily life or wherever, scouring the net, wherever it is, keep throwing things into the file, right? And keep building that up because you don't know when you're gonna need, some, chemical reaction on a street sign that you saw when you were living in an apartment in Fullerton, California. And that happened, right? Like that, like when I saw that street sign, I was like, I don't know how the fuck this happened on this sign, but I need a photograph, right? And then now that you have that, that's a tool, right? And that's a one-of-a-kind asset. So prior to AI, that was the only way to really get things.
That's true,
to go out and live it and see it and capture it. So, along the years, I have a massive morgue file of just different folders and different things and subject matters and, things that when that thing pops in my head, I'm like, I need the street sign from Fullerton. Where is it? Hopefully I can find it, right? There's a shit ton of things.
Yeah.
Folders help, but yeah.
In theory, it's been preserved. But I do have to say now that AI is here, those things are all still very valid. And I still will go up to a wall and shoot 50 photos of this wall for sure, because it's real and those are great textures. But if you can prompt wonderful textures that are hard to get in real life, and those are valid too.
And sometimes they're even more magical than you could take in real life.
Oh yeah. And you can massage it a little bit. It's like, oh, I need that to be ripped in half now and burned. Like you can't really do that to a wall. You might get right. So to me, it's all about having options and having your own personal catalog so that it's your creation, right? You're not, using a stock photo. Not that there's anything per se wrong with that. I mean, you should buy the photo, but to me, it's more authentic if it's like I was on vacation and I saw this cool ripped up sign, like I'm going to use that. It kind of breeds a little bit more personal life into art. So, yeah.
I also think what you do in general as a collage artist per se, it's like your art really kind of is born out of so many elements from so many places. So it's really never, even when you take a photo on vacation of a street sign, it's never just about the photo itself, right? It's about a part of it, a texture from it, even just inspiration from it to then, as a jumping off point for something else. So I think that's also just interesting. So as someone who does that art form, you're creating this giant library of tools, and AI just being just another tool to help with that.
Exactly. And we all have our special sauces in creativity. Like Adam, you're a fantastic illustrator and animator. Bryan, same thing. You guys have these toolkits, right? And one of the toolkits that my brain never really latched onto was the idea of like hand rendering, perspective, diminishing lines, all these, perspective angles. Like I get it. I fucking get it.
I understand the principles.
I sat through all the classes. I was like, teacher's like, why aren't you doing it right? I was like, my brain doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Literally, I'll be like, my brain will do that. So I used that because my soul or something was wanting me to pursue other like avenues of creation, right? So then it's like, I might not draw like photorealistic flowers, but if I take a fucking awesome photo of a flower and I cut it out and I put it into a scene and I build a collage around it, same difference, right? Like that's my path to getting my ideas out there. So I need that catalog. I have so much reference paper in my life, you know, a ridiculous amount of things that whoever inherits my my shit when I get vaporized, I wish them luck. Because there's just the most random, like I'll show you, like I'm doing a series called Filthy Fiat, right? So part of doing this as a collage artist is getting things that help you tell a story. And these are all old printed materials from the Federal Reserve that tell you about what money is.
Cool.
It's just a bunch of propaganda, right? And
yeah,
and it's beautiful because like they're telling us how inflation works, right? And it's, you know, wow, talk about how old that is. Like, well, I don't think we could do an illustration like that anymore.
Yeah, we're canceled.
Yeah, we can. The government.
Nice doing a show with you.
Government canceled. So for me, you know, it's collecting all this stuff and like digesting it, and like it's like the same as being a DJ. Like I'm remixing photos and personal experiences into something that means something to me.
Yeah, and speaking of just like the filthy fiat stuff and experimenting, you sent this over to me as like you know, sort of like this in progress experiment. I would love to dive in about this thing right here, which is really cool. Here, let me throw this up here. Boom! Look at that. Ooh,
yeah,
it is juicy, man. And I know a little bit about, you know, process for this, but I would love for you to just like tell us, you know, how this came about.
So I did not intend to create this series out of financial necessity. Well, not necessity. I was looking ahead to the world ending. And as part of that, I live in fire country. I live in the woods. So, you know, there's always something starting on fire and it's fucking scary. So part of that is you got to like have a go bag, basically, where like you have some
bug out bag.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have those. And I was like taking that a step further. I'm like, if my like house is going to burn down, like I'm going to need some spending money or, you know, something. So I buried some money in my backyard. Actually my parents' backyard, because if my house burned down, then I would need to go somewhere else to get the money.
The logic is sound.
I had a little bit of logic. So after a couple of years of it being buried, I was like, well, if this is going to last the test of time, I need to see how my money's doing, you know, just once, make sure I buried this correctly. Dug up the box. It took me a couple times to find where it was. I was like a crackhead. It was really found it, uncovered it. It was duct taped and bagged and duct taped and bagged. I thought I did okay. I did not. Water and moisture got in there and it fucked up all the money. And there wasn't like, you know, billions of dollars in there, but it was a bunch of $1 bills, right? And they literally got into a brick of mold. And I took it to the bank and I said, hey, I got some bills I need to change in for fresh bills. And God, I wish I had that on video. The branch manager ran at me and said, you got to get out of here. That's a biohazard. You can't be in here with that filthy, toxic biohazard money. I was like, wow, okay. Like that's a strong. And then he said the treasury can send you a bag where you can put your filthy fiat into and we'll cash you out. I was like, okay, that sounds fair. The treasury never got the bag to me. So they had their chance, right? Treasury had. So I'm sitting here and I was like, you know what? Hold on. I have $100 in ones that I'm hoping to get a check for. I'm going to make art out of this. Like I'm a collage artist and I've just inadvertently been given collage material. So, you know, I got my mold mask on, and I'm like outside because this shit is nasty as fuck. And I'm getting my Xacto knife and literally prying these bills apart. And I got some of them to show you when they're extracted. So
let's see this. Hold on. Let me take this off of here. Oh,
kind of.
whoa.
You're gonna kind of see it, but there's some.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So these are how they got pulled out. So every single bill is unique, right? They're nature generative art, and there's black mold. It's insane, and every single piece is different. You know, I couldn't replicate it.
Whoa.
So like they're just ridiculous bills.
And you so these are some of the ones that maybe you didn't cut out because like or haven't yet cut out, or
well, yes. So it's like an ongoing. If I showed you around my studio, there's like bags of bills everywhere. And
Flex.
yeah, if someone broke in there, you'd be like, "Do I steal this? Like what?"
Yeah.
At the risk of getting some sort of
Everything would be gone except for the valuable.
the money.
And it's an ongoing series. So for this project, this piece in process, those are basically my morgue files, right? I have all these bills that I'm blowing up with AI, getting them super big, and then clipping those out into the shapes of faces.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm able to either literally use the bill as it is, pulled out of the ground, right? That's a piece of art. Or I can then kind of zoom in and use the texture itself as a whole different type of piece of art.
Yeah. I really love this, man. I think this is one of your strongest pieces you've made. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can
the story's great and the art's really great.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's like it's always a challenge for me when I get a new stack of source material. Like, what do you do with it that speaks to the art and the story and is, first of all, just unique to me? If it doesn't check that box of holy shit, like we all get that, right? When you hit something, the zenith, and you're like, yes, like your soul like starts shaking. When you get to that, that's the starting point. Like that's when you got something. That's not the stop point. That's the investigate more point, right?
Yeah.
And with this one, I was doing I try to do quick design charrettes, kind of like in art school, like or wherever. It doesn't even have to be in a fucking school, but like we used to be given prompts where it's like, okay, for the next fucking half hour, make that go, and then you do it. Right. And then at the end of that half hour, you have something to look at. And I loved that. And I still enjoy that. And this was one of those quick design charrettes where it's like, so if you know the background of this piece, these pieces come from a Warren Buffett portrait that I did. Right. So I already had PNG cut out of Buffett's facial structure. Okay. So again, do it quick and learn, and then improve and do it again. So I already had the PNGs. So I took the clipping masks, found the different bills that were the right, like, the hair is a little bit lighter, right? So it kind of sits as hair, then you're playing with levels of darkness for depth. And I just made a face, just very not thinking. And that's, for me, oftentimes I'll make the most progress when I'm not thinking about it. And it just went bam, 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 trying a bunch of different theses, like how abstracted can an eye be and still be an eye? For a face, I figured I need to have some halftone dots on top of the cutout, or it's just going to look like a weird fucking, like what is legibility? Like I really digging deep into the thesis of like abstract design that you want to be recognizable. Like, and I had never studied anything like that. So this was like test like fuck ton of hypotheses and see what works. So there's a lot baked into this like test piece. And this is, again, like I said, this is level 1 of what I want to do with this portrait.
Yeah.
But it proves and it disproves different thesis that I had coming into it.
I think it's also
Fred. Is this Fred? This guy?
So it's funny. So Fred is the acronym for the Federal Reserve. It's a Federal Reserve, like with the way there's like a charting website where they show you like the CPI or KPIs, whatever, all the finance guys.
Got it.
But Fred is like the acronym. I was like, how perfect is that? It's like someone's name. Like, so like the working title is Filthy Fred, and it could be anybody, right? So these can be either real people or not real people, because that's kind of what it all is anyways.
Yeah.
You know?
I also when you said the clipping mask, I was like, okay, because I was wondering how much of this is you took a scan, you up-res it with AI, but did you are you also physically cutting with Xactos? Are you mostly doing digital? It's sort of like a non-destructive onto something destructive. I find that also really interesting. It looks like a mix of all of that. And then like you said, adding halftones, and I see the halftones and it didn't even
and the
register.
drop shadows.
Yeah.
To give it that physical feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we move on, I'm digesting these into my other, kind of, you have your art, and then you have your effect, right? And then you have your distribution, right? So there's 3 different levels, and there's more, but those are 3 levels of the process, right? You got your layout itself, right? Does that work, right? If that works, great. Check a box, move to the next step, and then there's effect, right? So with the effect on this, I can make that an anaglyph print, right? I could make this an After Effects animation, much like that Vitalik you saw, or something like that, where you actually experience the parallax, right? You can leave it like this, stands on its own if you want, right? So then you get your effect, and then your distribution, right, can be digital, physical, metaverse, like a GLB. There's literal layers of development that are educating me when I make something like this.
It's very cool, man. I look
think
forward
it works
to
well as a still.
I do too.
Maybe similar to how you did your Jack Dorsey one, where you could just create a bunch of stills.
Yeah. And that's the hard part. And I'll tell you, and I appreciate you saying that, because there's like things hit differently in different ways. Right. And I've done some actually with Filthy Fiat. I'm in R&D land. I'm testing all these things all the time. Right. I have all these sub series going on. And I'll do that where I'll have the still image and be like, okay, I like that. And then when I animate it, I don't like it as much.
Yeah. Well, I think with this one specifically, there's so much detail that I want to look and really dig my eyes into this. And if it was moving around, I would lose that. There
you go. I mean, I would agree with that 100%. Like, and that's cool because you can have pieces. I mean, like you said, you're in R&D world, right? Like you could have pieces that are just standalone that do allow people the time and space to do that. And then there's also other, contracts out there like Doppelganger, where you can see it in different ways, where you can, check it out and then you can zoom in and, different versions of it.
Yeah. Print this out on money paper.
Oh, dude, no, I'm working on, dude, I'm sourcing materials like a motherfucker right now.
It's great.
I would say my only advice is maybe that black mold dollars, maybe put that in like those like plastic cases that don't leak out air. I don't want you to be breathing in black mold, dude.
No, I got
Let's not don't let this be your last project, please.
I know. Yes,
We don't have to suffer for all of our art.
I know. I'm always like going on the bags and like making sure there's seal.
I just don't. Yeah, I'm with Brian. Double bag it. I don't trust it.
Double bag it. Yes. Yeah, that's a funny story.
This has been wonderful, man. Thank you for sharing all that insight with us. I feel like, somewhat of a kind of an alpha, drop there, just like, but also just learning about like the process that you went through to get from where you were to here in terms of just layering and technique and all
It's
that.
a
Really,
fractal. Every single project is a fractal of itself, right? So like this filthy fiat, as alpha as it is to like talk about it, it's a reoccurring process of discovery, right?
Speaking of discovery,
there you go.
I'm thinking we do this little show and tell so we can discover some new artists.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Show and tell with you and me. Okay, everybody. For anyone who doesn't know, this is the part of the show where we each have brought 3 pieces from 3 different artists that we either admire or have collected and think that they deserve a big spotlight. So it is our attempt to do just that. Quick side note, I will say things like that tend to work eventually. And I want to thank Brian. You shared a tweet the other day saying, hey, everybody who's a collector, be bold, be brave. Instead of collecting, from the top artists, the same stuff over and over on secondary, go out there and collect stuff on primary. Take a chance, find something that you like. And I thought that was great. And I didn't anticipate what happened afterwards, which was Redbeard just went out and he collected one of my pieces on primary, which was amazing. And then after that, there was a ripple effect from all of that. And Blondie picked up a piece, and then I didn't even pay attention. I was sort of like, with my kid yesterday, checked my email, I had 6 more sales yesterday. That was insane. So I thank you, and I hope that what we're doing here can also help other people. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to start with
Mike's cutting out a tiny bit. Maybe it might be my connection. I don't know.
No, I'm getting a little cut out too.
All right. Yeah. So that's the part of the show where I say really cool stuff that no one else hears. All right, let's start with this this piece here. Coldie, you want to walk us into this piece here? Bring it up. Saturnalia.
Yes.
Yes, this is a wild piece. Look at
yes. So this was Frank Manzano's. I don't know if it was his first drop. It was the early drop of theirs, and you were talking about early AI. And like early, like just the progress of everything. I love how raw this piece is and how it disturbs me, but in a way that I want to keep watching. And there's like all these trash art references in there, like these trash pieces. That's what I fell in love with. Like, I don't know what they did here, but I want more of it. It's Frank has style of his own for sure.
I've seen their work. I've seen it for a minute now, and it is, in a sea of stuff that's can be similar in AI. You don't see a lot of people doing this, and it's always recognizable.
We'll probably get canceled for this one.
His art is like it's like the TV show Cops of AI art. It's it's raw and trashy and feels stuck in like a 90s aesthetic. He's definitely made his style his own.
Really cool. Oh, and for anyone else who's watching, and if you can hear me, at the end of each episode that we do these, we put out on our Twitter account a recap of all the things that we've talked about, all the things we've shown, so you can go and give some love to the artists and follow, and if you're interested, even collect. Amazing. Very cool, man. Let's
it's wild.
It really is. Like, and this is
that little like monster right there.
It's just whatever. I don't know what it pops in. And I should say,
these all different pieces, or were they all? Is it all one? Oh, it is just one.
It's all just one loop.
Cuts between scenes. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. His new stuff has become much more fluid in its craziness. It's fun to see this early stuff.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, hello.
But who knows what it is? That's a great
Yeah.
part about it. Like I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's some sort of front butt situation.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. This, you know what? I'm gonna do it. That's good stuff.
That's good stuff. That's nightmare fuel.
It really is. Okay. Brian, we're gonna hop over to a piece that you just
What did I put in? I
you picked
forgot
up?
already. Oh yeah.
Up and coming artist, not really well known. Someone named Pindar, is it?
Mm-hmm. You know the Pindar Van Armen. Shout out Pindar's over Coldie's shoulder as well.
Very cool.
But yeah, this was a piece he made recently for the 452B collective, and also the physical of it auctioned off yesterday at Sotheby's. And you know, it's so cool to see Pindar continue to expand on his style, and you know, I think this is a really cool piece. And this is actually his first edition he's ever put out, which is kind of wild that he's held off this long.
That is pretty wild, especially since he's also an OG, has been in the space for forever.
I love to see
I
love to see the buildup of Pindar stuff.
Yeah, because I guess what people might not realize is that this is a time lapse showing what a robot is painting on a canvas, using AI plus code.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very cool. All right. While my dog barks in the background,
I think GAN characters in that white area in the top.
Is it?
It's similar to Coldie. He's gotten really good at building in, or like Matt Cain as well. These kind of repetition, the zeros and ones as well. These kind of patterns as textures.
Yeah, it's great. And kind of the AI, like it's like seeing eyeballs, and it's like figuring out what coordinates are. I love that kind of like gridding on top of faces is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder who picked up his physical yesterday. I didn't see who won that one. That was a fun auction. It was 60 pieces. It was a lot.
That was
well
a lot.
done. Well done on that. You really orated well.
Roger's really good too.
That was a good space, man. You and Roger doing a nice countdown for after everything was selling at Sotheby's.
Gotta give all these lots some love. So many artists didn't even realize they were in it. I saw afterwards, like, oh man,
that's pretty wild, actually. Yep. All right, let's see here.
What you got, Adam?
What did I get? What did I bring to the table? Did not collect this piece, but it is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Line of AKC, just a really unique style, very easily recognizable. Their work lately just been blowing up my timeline. Just only yesterday or 2 days ago connected with them. Really like their work, just solid, and I thought this was really cool. Especially this
definitely hit a wave. I feel like every day I'm seeing new pieces from them, either old and new, which is really cool.
Yeah,
and this is a really cool one. I don't think I've seen this one.
No, it's great.
Fire extinguisher on fire.
On fire.
I'm really drawn to the flat top because like it's like the head. Yeah. The head seems like it should be curving more. There should be something going on, but that's a very fucking tight flat top. To grow that in real life would actually be pretty hard.
Yeah.
You'd have to daily trim that.
You're like a fucking ruler on that shit.
You're not messing around.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how this artist goes about it because it's painterly. I assume it's digital, but they got this really specific flat style to it, and even like the subtleties in the background. I'm seeing that like kind of farmland, square lawn going into the background. It's really nice,
and I love the texture too. And also, it's all very whatchamacallit, brain escapes me, but it's all very centered in a time period, right? Like it all feels like it's sort of like in the 50s.
Yeah,
a lot of their work feels like it's from that era, or at least focuses it's just a pretty cool thing to just be able to pick a period of time, and you need-
Nope, we're losing you again. You might need to get closer to the mic.
Hello.
There
Is
you
that
go.
better? Okay, this is the ASMR part of the show. All right, so we're
You
just
got lost in your thoughts, and it was like you fell into a dream phase. Now, this is
Well,
awesome. And
yeah.
yeah, shout out to AKC.
Yeah.
Between AKC and ACK, they're both blowing up the timelines.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coldie, back to you. This is a pretty cool piece here, man.
Oh, wow.
This is let's see here. What did you put out? This is I want to say Biv Vicki XIV. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a collab. There's a couple people involved.
It's very cool, and it's like a GLB, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a GLB.
I can do that.
These have been really blowing me away.
That's sick.
Super intricate. The stacking of PNGs to create volume, very fascinating.
Look at that. Look! Oh wow, I didn't even notice that. Look at that. Just
like that mirror.
That's how I used to do my After Effects 3D.
Really?
Back in the day. You just
if you
50 of them really close to each other.
Yeah,
it works. Yeah. So this one, there's a whole series. I've collected several, and I like this because they collaborate with different artists, and just the way they're animating and stacking. And I've been collecting GLBs for a couple of years, and this hits very uniquely. And it's a good juxtapose next to other pieces that are just built completely differently than this.
This is crazy. Cool. Yeah. And shout out Tezos, I feel like, has so many awesome GLBs.
Yeah.
I don't know how that became like the place for it, but there's some really insane stuff over there.
I also found a Kidmograph GLB yesterday on Tezos. I didn't even they've only done like one. I was like, wow, like I feel like I manifested that. I was like, I wish there was a Kidmograph GLB, and then there was one.
Bing. I like that suitcase. It reminds me of like Ant Pantone's work.
That's really cool. I don't know, and it also feels really good to have like early Windows icons in there. Like that just seems to fit nicely, and the stacking works in its favor.
What software it's made in? It's like Blender. I wonder.
Yeah, there's like a trio. There's a couple different people involved. There's the modeler. There's always a collab artist, and a fashion. It's like a three often three people in it. So we'll post links to everybody because it's fascinating. Everybody has their own little special sauce on this piece.
Yeah,
it's very cool. Good stuff, man. All right, Brian, you are up next with this piece here.
Oh yeah, Jenny Passanen.
Yeah,
this was a piece from Click Create, curated by Unknown Collector. I just thought this was a gorgeous piece. It's got a lot going on. I'm not entirely sure how it's made, but it's very painterly. And yeah, I love the Click Create folks. I think they're doing awesome work. And this was just a really strong month between this drop and I mentioned the one a couple days, like 2 days ago as well. Just great stuff. But shout out to Jenny. This is awesome.
Yeah, I believe Jenny's work is AI, but also there's something. It feels like something else going on because all of their work is very. It all lives in the same world, which when people are doing AI, it tends to sometimes go in all different directions and be difficult to wrangle. So I don't know if if she's training an AI or what, but the effect is gorgeous, and the world, like all of her work looks like this, and it's really great. Good stuff, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I like. There's like 5 hands.
Oh, and then we got someone chiming in saying she actually paints them.
There you go.
Even cool. One way or the other, however this works, it's really cool art. But thank you for.
Yeah, the energy lines around it are very fascinating.
Great. Yeah, not to take anything away if it was if I misspoke, but either way, gorgeous art. Very cool, man. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Oh, hold up. I don't want to.
Bring.
I don't want to deny this. There we
Oh.
go. Okay. Here's a piece I found in looking for this.
Ooh. This is my jam right here.
That's a good reaction. Yonaguni is the piece here. I will be honest. I mean, this is the first time the other day that I had heard of the artist, and so I apologize if I get it wrong. Suisochi. I apologize if I'm butchering your name, but really cool. When I think of digital art, right? This is it. This is what I think of. And I love that NFTs give people who make art like this a chance to, to sell their work, because this is one of those things that is so natively digital. You can't just print this out and get the same effect. You can't just have this as a still. So I don't know, but I absolutely love it. There's, the retro feel to it, the colors. It's a glitch art that isn't hard to watch, because there are some that are just for me difficult to watch, and I love just so much is going on in this. It's almost like a Where's Waldo situation for me.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, you can just get lost in the coordinates.
Done in MS Paint, apparently.
Oh,
incredible!
Wow.
I love it. I mean, there's so much to take in.
That is absolutely incredible. Yeah, this is the part of the show where deservedly we just sit with art, because
part of it, I love that part of it feels like it's almost like a mall, like a 3D room. Yeah. And then there's just all of these UI, UX things that are also built around it, and you lose a sense of what is the border and what is the inner part.
So impressive.
Really cool.
Yeah. Very cool, man. All right, Coldie, you are up, sir, with the last piece that you've brought to the table. I'll say this next artist, there wasn't specifically one piece, so I picked a piece, but you said that this artist is not currently on the blockchain, or at least making art on the blockchain, but nonetheless, incredibly cool art. I had a chance to see their art and almost collect their art at Pepe Fest down at Beeple Studios, but I was not one of the lucky ones to have snagged one of the Pepe necklaces in time, but this is really, really cool, and I'm pretty sure you said this is Hitomi Matsui. Again, yeah. Apologize if I mispronounced, but really cool stuff, man.
Yeah, I actually met her at the art gallery at Bitcoin Nashville, and it's just super sweet. We talked for a little bit, and I was just over the moon. This is like felt art. It's like so off the wall, but the execution level is so great. Like the attention to detail.
Look at that.
And it's not just somebody who's slapping a Bitcoin logo onto something. There's thought behind these things. And she gave me a little like that little the Bitcoin coin. She gave me a little Bitcoin like like that, like those little things. I think are beautiful gestures from artist to artist. Like those little, it's like Brian's pins, right?
Yes.
Like these little things that mean so much. I have one of those little Bitcoins, and like when I took a step back and look at everything that she was making, like it has intent, and it's just beautiful. I really felt it.
These are so fun.
The detail is phenomenal. Yeah, she made these really awesome Pepe necklaces and handed them out at Pepe Fest down at Beeple Studios, and I saw everyone walking around with them. I was like, "Oh, where?" And they were like, "It's her," and she's walking away. And I was like, "I don't know. Oh, she's they're out. Okay, great."
Yeah, these would be good to like LiDAR scan and make GLBs of.
Oh yeah, very cool, man.
I'll have to pass that along. It's a great idea.
All right. We have two more pieces left to talk about. Let's see. We've got this piece here, Brian, that you brought up. By Pepe Nardo.
This is an oldie but a goodie, but I for my money, I think it's one of the best Pepe derivatives I've seen. Because it just works on so many stupid levels. You know, for people that follow the Pepe world, the Homer Simpson Pepe is one of the classics of the rare Pepes. And then building it into this Obama piece, and then also the Homer walking into the leaves piece. It just hits on so many levels. I think it's so funny. And yeah, shout out to notable Pepes.
Yeah, and with the original artist being Kehinde Wiley, doing the Obama portrait, and then, like you said, it works on multiple levels with Homer in the bushes. It's great. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is that an ETH token, or what is this? Are these?
Yeah. Because if you remember, what was it? VVD made that like open edition, and then it was like based on how many you held, you got allow listed to mint these like notable Pepes. And so the fake rares kind of migrated off of Bitcoin over to this notable Pepes ETH collection for the most part. And then they kind of, we're getting that, but then they became like fake memes, the guys that are making fake rares. So it all kind of like splintered off. And so I haven't followed notable Pepes recently, but I still think it's like where most of the Pepe art is being distributed now.
Okay.
Very
Maybe.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm out of the loop.
Out of the Pepe loop.
Every time I see this one pop up, it makes me smile.
Very cool. All right. We got one more piece. Piece I wanted to spotlight because I thought it was really cool. This is called Philosophy Day by artist Isla Bliznitz. And I don't know much about this piece other than I really, really liked it. Somewhere between feeling like paint and digital glitch. The colors are really wonderful. And then just sort of, it feels like kind of a train of thought. And just, I get lost in some of the details, and I was really, really excited to show this one.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
It feels architectural in a fun way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like
the lamp being so pristine compared to everything else too.
Mm-hmm. And I like how things are just getting broken up, like this grid here, and this almost feels like different states of consciousness for this human figure.
And this one's available. It looks like
it is available.
There you go, folks.
And there will be links. It's only 3.5 SOL.
AI digital painting and collage. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Using the tools.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
I like the little turtle on the wall on the right.
Mm-hmm. I love how this digital splatter is happening here too, and getting all crunchy, and it's fun. Again, it's one of those things I really like about digital art that feels like it's digital art. Well, gentlemen, this has been a bunch of fun. I want to say thank you, Coldie, for coming on the show. Obviously, before we go, if there's anything that you want to plug, or what you got coming up next, or what to look out for, let us know.
I want to plug you guys. I think you guys are great. Honestly, just as people, first of all, and artists, right up there. You guys are wonderful, just all around. So thank you for having me. I guess bunch of shit going on. You can go to filthyfiat.money and check out what's coming up. It's going to be focused for a long while, and there's a lot of fun stuff coming. And besides that, I'll be shit posting on Twitter for about 9 hours every day. So if
as you do,
you're around.
I mean that we got to pass the time somehow. If we're not making art.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, thank you guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for diving into the process of everything. It's fun to lift up the hood and talk about how and why and intent. It's not about, you know, the finances. It's about the art. And this is refreshing to get into the process. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, everyone should follow you for the finances too, because you are a master of marketing and distribution and figuring out interesting. I mean, Super Rare had to take your method of auctions for crying out loud.
Literally creating.
So
the
we're all
Coldie
learning
method.
from you and all senses. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're all on this crazy fucking ride together. So let's learn from each other so that we can all grow and everyone can fail less by learning from what we've all done.
Hell yeah. Let's go, man. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who tuned in live. And thank you for people watching on the replay and anyone who hits, you know, shares and likes and does all the things. We appreciate that too. And we'll put a recap up on our Art First show on Twitter so everyone can go and deep dive. But until then, thank you. And we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.